Hi, hello viewers. First of all, I would like to say a big thank you to Nitika Brahmadi. She is the business head for lovely school, Foster Billabong High International School. So thank you very much. It's a privilege and pleasure to indeed to have you with us. And I just since I'm here, I heard a lot about your school, everything. I just want to ask you questions, definitely, I mean, I want to be very honest. I want to convey all the message. What do you think, Nitika? What's happening? I mean, because of this COVID, I know there are a lot of queries from the parents' point of view, but I want from your point of view, what are the difficulties you're facing?
Okay. So, being very honest, COVID has affected everyone equally, right? Whether it's a parent or a student or a teacher or the management, all of us are equally affected. From the parents' point of view, we have been very understanding, we have been empathetic. Basic fundamental of education is no child should get affected no matter the scenario. So we have made sure to not stop any students from attending the classes, and irrespective of whether we are getting the fee collections or not. Now, talking on behalf of private institutions, what happens is all private institutions have taken a great hit because of COVID, mainly being because the government has made statements and given to the parents. They've held their hand and supported the parents by saying that pay at least monthly fees.
Okay.
If you don't have to pay term, if you cannot pay term, pay at least monthly fees. The idea being, if monthly the fees comes in, the staff gets paid, the ground staff gets paid, and the school sustains in these tough times. Parents who are genuinely affected have sought time, have taken time out. But we are also experiencing a lot of turmoil with parents saying, I will not pay fees from the month of June to the month of December just because you have not declared any fee concession. I mean, I am also waiting to declare any fee concession. When the time comes, we will do whatever we have to do. So as school, when we are supporting you by making sure your child receives every bit of education, your child is undergoing every assessment possible, we have not stopped any communication with you all, and I'm sure no private institute has. But as a parent, if you're just holding on to the fact that I don't want to pay any fees, whereas we as a school are telling them, okay, if your monthly fees is stipulated at say 5,000 rupees, don't pay 5,000, pay 500.
Okay.
Pay 1,000 rupees, whatever is convenient for you. So once the fee collection starts, the staff is also not affected.
Right.
Staff is also affected because of COVID, right? Staff also has their own kids. The ground staff today, because they are not being paid any salaries, today are completely on the roads. But just because parents are not paying the fees, we cannot leave hands of ground staff, right? So we still have to keep that PF, ESI on, because now health is more important for them. Health insurance is the most important.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant. I mean, I understand. I respect your statement. But look, have you informed earlier about the concession to the parents? Have you?
See, the thing is, declaring a concession just as a single institute is not okay. Once CBSE as a cluster takes a decision, then all the schools around will come together and give a certain concession. And this statement we have already made to the parents that we are waiting for the government's decision, and whatever they would ask us to do, we cannot go against the government, and we wouldn't want to, because we don't want to do it for one person. We want to do it for everyone. So once the government comes forward and says this is what we want you to do, once the GO is released, by default the discount will be applicable. And if any parent by default is paying a little more than the actual figure they were supposed to pay, obviously it gets refunded or it gets carried forward into the next year.
Okay,
but
that strategy you have.
Yeah, so obviously, so imagine out of say 1100 parents, if they're just 300, 400 paying, how will such a organization sustain? With about 200 staff members, 75,000 square feet leased campus, and we have also put forth our points to the parents. Luckily, our parent base has been very understanding. When they came forward with their queries, we explained. They really gave us their word that we will try our best to convince parents to support you as much as they can. So that way we've been very lucky.
That's nice, Nikita. I mean, you're very, I mean, that's nice of you. Usually, what idea we have is something different, but that's very nice. You've elaborately explained very clearly. Now, one question what I want to ask you is what are the students, don't you think they are suffering in this?
In the COVID scenario,
Yeah.
see, imagine you and me, right? At a certain age when we're so much glued to our phones and TV and all social media that's running around, even us, once we watch a certain movie, we want a break.
True.
But imagine if every day you're forced to watch a movie, definitely from this time to this time, you will develop an aversion towards it. So I think students as such, yes, students are very flexible, they are adaptive, lucky enough, they are learning a lot with online classes, but yes, they are definitely going to face a lot of mental health issues and things like that. If this keeps continuing for another year, then obviously I think parents also at home need to start doing a lot of therapies and counseling for kids, which is important. Yes, some students feel sitting at home and learning is more easier, like how we did our undergrad or masters. But some students feel they still want to experience a hands-on learning, meet people, they are clustered. They are suffering, but these are tough times, and I just hope they learn more from it than they get affected from it.
Right. Okay, Nikita, one valuable suggestion to all the viewers, like what do you think, what they have to do at this point in time, because now it's December almost,
Correct.
5 days gone, like close to 20, the
Correct.
month will be over. Now, what do you think, how they can cope up, because obviously students are getting bogged down,
Correct.
as you said.
See, the first step would be mentally preparing everyone at home and to the students also that this academic year is going to be online.
Okay.
If some real good news comes up and we reopen, then that should be a good news to everyone.
Brilliant.
But mentally, if you're preparing them, it'll open, then wait is going to take a lot of toll on them. It's better that you mentally prepare them that it is going to be an online year. Let us get the best that we can, and let's just hope with the new academic year, new beginnings start, and we go back to our normal lives. The whole idea is mental preparation from parents and reduce negativity in the house as much as possible. So stop watching news that is really bombarding with negativity all the time. Watch news, watch documentaries, watch news like this where people are giving you advices and suggestions on how to take things forward. And the more the positive vibe around you, the more the child's mental health also stays same. Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, to be honest enough, we had a great insight from you. But since I'm here, I just want to ask you,
Yeah.
you're saying that, okay, Feb, March, this coming 3
Yeah.
months are there. If things goes good, do you think they have to come physically or it's virtual? How exams will be conducted?
See, I cannot absolutely comment on what will be the new norm, but what I would suggest as an educationist or an edupreneur would be if physically the government does say, schools have to reopen, the vaccine has come out, then I think this year it'll be better if we can also run parallel online classes. Because till the immunity of the entire population is sustained, the decision should be left to the parents, whether they want to send the child or they still want them to take online classes. So I think even if physical school reopens, the virtual schooling option will still be open for parents.
That's brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds very true because what
Yeah.
you mean to say that virtual things should be there.
Yeah,
Okay, brilliant. I mean,
Yeah.
one last quick question. That's all. Then we
Absolutely.
have to wind up. It was very, glad
Yeah.
being such a young interviewer. In fact, you're the head of this great school.
Thank you.
Okay, one very
Yeah.
dynamic suggestion to our
Yeah.
viewers. If at all they want to do something great in life, something
Correct.
is there any step you have, since you're in the education field, how they can select their careers, all those things, any one thing?
Yeah, so I basically feel any step that you want to take in future, if you don't forget two important rules, that is empathy, and if you can empathize with anyone that you are working with or you're dealing with, whether it's personal or your professional lives, it'll take you a long way. But if you want a more practical suggestion, then I would feel before you make a decision to do your masters, your undergrad, your 11th and 12th, the first thing you need to do is a lot of research. I mean, today information is open to you, Google is there. So stop listening to everyone around you, block their noises, anyone's. Sit down, read, understand, is this something that you will be happy doing? Because if you're not happy doing it, then there is no growth. So yeah, do a lot of research before you take your decision, and make sure that you ask for help whenever you need it or you want it. Do not go back from asking.
Brilliant. I mean, that's what I can say, indeed. I mean, you understand it's not about, I mean, the way she has anything. She's like, a famous book, we call it as Die Empty. That means the knowledge what you have to give to the world.
Yeah.
And that's what she has given. Because in fact, most of the people, they try to hide the things. But the way she was very, explicitly explained, this is what your career all about. And the best example she has given, do research, then take your own decision, because you don't have to listen to someone else and come take a decision. Yes.
Yeah, I would just like to end this by saying thank you so much, Fahim. And thank you obviously to our management, the director, Ms. Sunita Rani, who's been in this for 25 years, and our chairman, Mr. Mahesh Reddy, obviously. And this is just something that they have passed the baton, and I'm trying to, learn from them and take it forward. And I really hope we do more interviews together.
God willing.
Yeah, all the very best.
It was so nice of her. She has taken out the time, and indeed it's a privilege and pleasure. Definitely look forward for great things.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you. Bye-bye.